Welcome to SportsBeat KC, the Kansas City Star's daily sports podcast. It's Thursday, July 1st, and I'm Blair Kerkhoff. We're talking sporting Kansas City, KC NWSL, and international soccer on today's show with the Stars Shaun Goodwin, Briar, Napier, and Cora Hall. Sporting keeps rolling. They're just playing wonderfully right now, and there's plenty to discuss about the team and about Gianluca Busio. His play has been outstanding, and we wonder how much longer he'll be a member of the team with all the interest he's getting from European clubs. KC NWSL continues to do everything right off the field while looking for its first victory. They're getting closer, losing a heartbreaker to Washington last weekend. Maybe that first triumph is around the corner. Finally, we discussed the UEFA Championship Euro 2020. It's been marvelous theater, and one of the members of our group has a strong rooting interest in the outcome. We'll let you figure it out as we go along. Okay, let's get started talking soccer. It's our weekly soccer gathering with beat writer Shaun Goodwin and our, I don't want to call you intern. You are interns, but you guys have been working your butts off, as interns should, but I feel like you're part of the full-time staff members. But anyway, Cora Hall and Briar Napier are here as well. It's good to see you guys. Great talking soccer with you. Let's start with Sporting Kansas City today. They just keep winning. They just keep winning, and they do it dramatically. And here's what. So I watched the entire LAFC game this weekend, and the atmosphere just seemed as good as it's been for a while.
Yeah, it feels like this crowd, they're really getting behind the team. Not just, obviously, fans are usually behind the team, but they can almost sense something special within the group. And I think that's the difference. And, we talk about all the come from behind wins. That's now 5 wins this season from come from behind positions. The tie, as we were saying before the podcast, goes 16 points in 12 games. That ties the previous 2 years combined from points from come behind positions. So it's not one of those where you sense something special with the team. Obviously second in the standings, but usually, especially in soccer, because goals are kind of hard to come by. Obviously, if your team falls behind, it's kind of like can we come back? Because sporting team is like we can seize it first. We'll come back. It's fine. Which it isn't the best. Not mentality, but the best kind of trend to be in. But, showing you've got the mentality to come out of it, it kind of spares on the fan base.
Well, not only that, but it also shows a confidence in a team that doesn't... now, look, they haven't overcome 2-0, have they? Or 3, just 1-0, which was... I'm not diminishing that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a team that must have a ton of confidence right now and feels so good about itself. With as we mentioned, down 1-0, they win 2-1 over LAFC. It's just a terrific victory. So goals by Alan Polito, who I just think is a special player.
Yeah.
I absolutely think he's a special player and should be starting for Mexico.
I'm sure he would have been this Gold Cup if it wasn't for the laceration on his foot.
Right, gets the laceration on the foot.
That looked good.
Yeah. I saw the
Instagram photo. Yeah, that looked gnarly.
Well, chatting to Peter earlier, if you ever sense his stomach, close your ears right now. But he was saying, when it was fresh, you can move his foot and you can see the tendons and everything moving inside of the foot. It was deep. At this point, it's just healing the skin. They cleaned it out, so they've stitched it up. So there's nothing bad about it. Now it's going to take a couple of weeks to fully heal up.
Right. So he gets the first goal, and Mr. Goal Scorer himself, Daniel Shallowy, with the second goal. You talk about a confident player. This guy, it's like 180 in terms of his confidence. But so the MLS does a team of the week every week, basically an all-star team based on the results and the individual play of the week. And so Busio is on the all-MLS team for the week without statting. He did not have an assist. He didn't have a goal. What was it about his play that allowed him to get this honor.
At this point, it's what you're seeing every week, and obviously it's part of the reason why he's been in the team several weeks now. And you look at his team of the week, saying I think it's when MLS pucks come out, Aldi goal, whoever it is, and there's a big red thing around all the players, and there's a couple of players dotted about who don't have that because they didn't score. Busio is one of those guys, and it's been like a couple of times now, just because, especially with injury issues for Sporting, Ilya's dropped back, Remy Walsh is out, Busio's dropped into that number 6 role, so we shouldn't be expecting him to see goals from him right now. But it's the long range passing, it's the vision, it's controlling the midfield. And one of the things that people have kind of criticised him about in the past, even earlier this season, was losing 50-50 balls. And, you watch him in that game, of course, like every play, you might lose 1 or 2 in a game, but he's winning those 50-50s, he's winning tackles. I remember seeing a very specific play in the first half. I forgot who exactly it was for LA with the ball. They took on a player or two for Sporting KC, and Busio, he could have lunged right in. Or what they teach you as a young age for the top players is don't just lunge in, you wait for the moment to, make a tackle. Busio, he took a step or 2 back as soon as there was a heavy touch. Boom, he was in, ball away. It's just this that knowledge, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit. Not that there's been much news since last week, but the whole European transfer rumours, and there's a reason he's getting those looks, because it's not just being a athletic, fast player, it's the intelligence to know when to make a pass, when to make a tackle. It's all there for the kid.
I think something to add on with, and obviously we know by now that Peter Vermees's and Sporting KC system is the 4-3-3. And to be a number 6 in the 4-3-3 that's a role with a lot of responsibility, because if you're in miscoverage, or if you're prone to be making mistakes, your back line's going to get burned a lot, because you're a kind of patroller until for that back line. But for Peter Vermees to put in a teenager in that role, it just shows to how much confidence he has in his abilities, and same for Busio as well. And just being knowledgeable of how to get the best out of him, and it's showing right now, because he is a critical cog in the engine that's leading what I believe is the MLS's top scoring team at the moment. Mm-hmm. And it's a critical cog. And when/if Busio leaves, obviously there's Sporting, when healthy, has a great midfield all around. Ilya, who's been playing center back, his number is literally number 6, so he could slide back in. But even then, when/if Busio leaves, it's going to be a big loss. And that says a lot out of someone who is 19 years old.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. All right, so what is the latest?
Galisa's transfer-wise?
Yes, and so let's just say we're recording this on Wednesday, a little bit after noon on Wednesday. News can happen anytime between now and when this is posted. But what is the latest on Busio?
Nothing really to report, to be honest. Sporting remaining tight-lipped. All I can really say is, based off, what else we see online and whatnot, Sassuolo was the front runner, it seemed, and there was talks about how, they were talking to KC, but no agreement had been reached, and now they're saying an offer hasn't even been submitted by Sassuolo, and it's, honestly, I wish I'd tell you more, but it's interest is there, and I think a big part that a lot of people don't realise is, he's got 18 months left in his contract. It's either sell him in the summer now, you can try and sell him in January after the season, but European teams can typically spend a lot of money or buy midway through the season. And if you wait till next summer, he's got 6 months left in his contract, and then he can start talking to teams and leave on a free. Sporting don't want to miss that money. So I think, Briar was saying if/when, one, because of his talent, and I just think, because if about it, he's going, and I honestly do think because of the contract situation and the interest, it's going to be this season. It just depends on how much money, when it happens, if there's add-ons, which I think there probably will be, stuff like that, Briar.
Yeah, I'm interested to see if a move does happen this summer, are we going to see a situation like what just happened to Caden Clark, a similarly talented midfielder for New York Red Bulls, who, granted, this was within the Red Bull system as well, because he had to move to Red Bull Leipzig in Germany. But the move there was Leipzig has his rights now as a player because they have him, but now he's been loaned back to Red Bulls for the rest of the MLS season. Obviously,
yeah. I mean, that's what I was thinking too. Brenzing Aronson had the exact same as well.
Wouldn't that be a best case scenario for Sporting?
It'd be best case. I think a big part of it is, again, Caden Clark. I'm slightly surprised he's being allowed to stay on because it's so early in the summer. Brenzing Aronson, that deal was made later. Whoever brings in Busio, it could be a case of if it's later in the summer, they don't want to bring him right before the season starts. So it'll be like, finish your season, come in, and have a little bit of off season coming fresh for the second half. And then the other big part is, I'm not sure the details specifically of the Caden Clark deal, but Brenzing Aronson, it was $6 million up front, and then there's other add-ons of international appearances, goals scored, a sell-on percentage, obviously he was got loan back. So that's all stuff that Sporting want to look at as well. So fancy, only 6 million, because a lot of people are saying, Busio should be 10, 12, 15 million, which for a young American as well, it's you question it. So I think around 6 million would be fair, but it's those add-ons of international appearances and of course a sell-on fee if he goes on to play for Juventus or someone. There'll be a nice chunk of change there too.
Yeah. Okay. Hey, let's switch to KC NWSL. Getting closer to a victory, Cora. They're getting closer. How the last result? Washington 2-1 loss.
3-1. Oh wait, no, 2-1. Sorry,
2-1.
Wasn't that bad?
I'm just gonna say right now, I think Twitter is familiar with the fact that we're blaming Shaun for this one.
Yeah.
Shaun gets blamed for a lot of things.
Yeah. Did you see Twitter blaming me for that?
No, I did not.
You openly said, I'll leave. If I'm coming at halftime and if they lose, it's my fault.
Yeah, but I was exposing KC for the double header. Technically, I had a nice off for NWSL because Cora had it covered. So I was like, great. And then you go 1-0 up early and it's half time and it's 1-0. And I'm like, how am I missing the first NWSL win? So I get my ass out there. And then all of a sudden they lose 2-1 with late goals and everyone's blaming me. So.
Okay, well, just to be scientific about this, what was the score when Shaun wasn't there?
It was 1-0.
1-0. Yeah. And what was the final score? So hang on. Then you arrive, and then what's the final score?
2-1.
2-1. Okay, I just I don't think Twitter was wrong. That's what I'm saying here. What a heartbreaking loss, though, right? At least it looked like they could have gotten a draw from this. Yep. Late goal, really late. Extra.
Well, it was. All jokes aside, it was 75 minutes of them playing like a winning team, which they fully earned that win until 2 moments. Hugh talked about those moments, and it really was because they weren't getting baited into trying to force the ball through the midfield. They did really well to play the ball up and wide and capitalize on those opportunities, especially with Jessica Silva. Like she had a really good game. She made a lot of impact there. She had the assist, and it was the young talent on the Spirit that kind of took advantage of those moments that they got, and they punished us for them. And there's not much you can.
Yeah, I mean, I think a big part of it. Sorry, Blair. You look like you're ready to talk.
No, please.
I think a big part of it is in past games, and I talked about this last week as well, so I'll just kind of gloss over it, but it was a 2-6 issue as well, with 2 6s, and Desi Scott and Gabby Vincent are great, but the problem was playing up, KC had actively be stuck in their own half. I missed the first half of the Washington game, but at least from what I saw from the 25 minutes before it all went to hell, playing with the double 8 or the 8 and the 10, where you've got Lola Bonter out there and trying to think who we had Victoria Pickett in the midfield for. Those attacking players gave it on the front foot. They obviously scored first, and as you were saying, Cora, what you said, it was moments. It wasn't a barrage, and they finally broke through. It was literally moments. So you close up those moments. You maybe get a little bit of luck, and it's a win. because they're not holding on for dear life. They're on top of the game, and it's partly because they can make field changes, but then you let moments kill you.
Well, and it was just, it felt like really, I don't know, it was a really poor feeling after the game because, Washington wasn't pushing the pace. They weren't getting opportunities at goal. They weren't knocking at that door. Like, you weren't on the edge of your seat like, oh my gosh, we're about to give up a goal. Like, can we hold on? It was NWSL, like KC NWSL the whole time, pushing the pace, creating these opportunities that like, it was kind of the same like as the first half against Orlando. They were actively creating those opportunities, and it was kind of like their offense was the best defense. Stay on that front foot.
And it wasn't like it was Washington playing bad. It was Kansas City playing good.
Right.
And we haven't been able to say that, at least for maybe 75 minutes. But this was also, with the addition now of Silva, this was their strongest lineup, right? That they've.
Yeah,
they're at full strength. It's close to full strength as they've been all year.
Yeah, they still have some players out. Elizabeth Ball went out. She wasn't in this game. She's usually on the back line. And someone who got hurt when Kate DeFalva went in. Taylor
Leach got hurt.
Yeah, she got kind of hurt again.
Technically, Desi Scott, she's already left for Canada, but Gabby Vincent is being so excellent too. I don't think you can, throw away what Desi's done her whole career and how good she is still, but it's not like it's a major downgrade.
Right.
Vincent, so.
Well, pretty soon they're gonna be down 3 with Olympians, right? Chloe Lagarzo is on the Australian team, Katie Bowen, New Zealand, and as you mentioned, Desiree Scott with the Canadian team. So before we take a break, Cora, I wanted to ask you about a story that you wrote. It's on kansascity.com. I think it was in the print editions of the Star today, right? Definitely, I read it on kansascity.com. The headline is Women's Soccer Foundation in Kansas City, where advocacy, inclusion, devotion take front row seats. Tell me about this story. How did it originate? And just take us through the reporting of it.
Yeah, so I came up with this story idea because just like on Twitter or people I know, like women's soccer fans, they have a different feel about them. They have a very strong passion for like specifically women's soccer. And I wanted to talk to fans to kind of get an idea of what's that driving force, what's with these supporter groups and why are they so, popular. They just have something about them. And so I went to talk to the Blue Crew, and, one of their organizers drives from Des Moines, like every game. And I was kind of shocked to hear that. And it's just kind of a testament to how much they care about this team and how much they're here for like the long run. They're not just, show up to a game every once in a while. Like they're at every game and they don't plan on leaving.
So what is the Blue Crew?
They're the fan supporter group that's associated with Kansas City NWSL, and from what I could tell, they're have worked with the Longs and have really enjoyed working with Chris and Angie. So that's definitely a different tone than the last ownership group. So I talked to them on Pride Night, and we kind of got into how the fight for women's soccer and that visibility and support in the sports world is very similar, kind of intertwined with the fight for the LGBTQ community. And their fight for visibility and their fight for validation in the sports world, and how that kind of relationship has led to this bond of, the Blue Crew talked about how a lot of their supporters are members of the LGBTQ community, and the Pride Night was filled with, over 5,000 people. And it was just this atmosphere of acceptance and of, this is what we care about and this is what we're here for. This is part of our mission, and everyone just seems very on board with it, So it was a really cool story to hear, how these things are intertwined and how they've kind of always been present, especially with very high profile, LGBTQ players like Megan Rapinoe and Abby Wambach. It was like one of the first, besides WNBA, to have very high profile players come out and, really be visible. Mm-hmm. So yeah, that's kind of how that came about, and I'm, happy to have had people share their experiences with me.
You got a couple of likes that you liked.
Oh yeah, it was fun to see, Lauren Holiday and Meg Linehan from The Athletic kind of give it some love. So it was I'm just glad it resonates with people, because obviously this is a story that I found interesting and thought was important. So it's nice to see that other people are engaging with it, and this is something that they care about as well.
It's on kansascity.com and in the print editions of the Kansas City Star on Wednesdays newspaper. Okay, we're going to take a break, and when we come back, we're also going to talk a little bit more about pride in a team, in a country, in a sport, and Shaun will take us through that conversation when we return. Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners, unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening. We're back on SportsBeat KC with Cora Hall, Briar Napier, and Shaun Goodwin. I want to talk about Euro 2020/21. But first, Shaun, we were remiss by not mentioning when we talked about Gianluca Busio in the first part of the show. He is now, for the first time, a national team member.
Yes, a full senior national team member. He was called up by the time this releases this morning by the US national team. US Soccer Federation announced a Gold Cup roster. And yeah, after playing for the U15s and U17s for the last couple of years, he's now 19 years old, of course. And there's been speculation not speculation, but just, pushes for him to make national team. And he's finally got that call up for the Gold Cup. Going to play all 3 group games at Children's Mercy Park, so basically a home game for him. So yeah, super exciting chance for him. And it's not going to be the last time, we can say that right now.
How much fun is it going to be to see a Sporting Kansas City player on his home field? I think we saw that we've seen that in previous years with Graham Zusi and Matt Beasler.
And whatnot. And I think obviously Matt and Graham are the big ones because they were only ever played in Kansas City, and obviously Matt being from Kansas City. But I think with Busio, it almost feels even different because obviously Matt's got hometown kids and Graham's going to be a sporting legend once he retires, no doubts about it. But it was the fact that Busio he's came up through the club's academy. He is a sporting Kansas City kid in a sense of they've had him since he was 13, 14 years old, brought him all the way up. Signed a first team contract when he was 15. As we talked about in the first segment, going off to Europe at some point. So to have him have that international call up while he's still with Sporting Kansas City, that's huge. Not just for him, it's huge for the club as well. To basically show, we're developing these kinds of players now. And I'm sure the book won't just stop at him, whether next up it's Shailen Lindsay at some point. You've got Wilson Harris, who's a young kid coming up. It's hopefully the first step, the first pavement slab to more players coming out of Kansas City onto the international stage.
Yeah, I think to go even further than that, it's huge, I think, for American soccer as a whole, because Busio has proven, like you mentioned, just like it's coming from an MLS academy, it's proven that the growth of the game in U.S. has gotten to this point now where where you have young players being found in America, scouted in America, and trained in America, all the way to the point to where they're national team members. Yeah. That's big. It's like, yeah, there still are. I mean, you still have heavy hitters that are that say like Christian Pulisic, who have spent most of their time in
rating. Those guys, yeah.
But even then, there's people like Weston McKennie. Weston McKennie was an FC Dallas Academy graduate, and then just for example. So it's like it's big for you. It's big for U.S. soccer that it's proven elite talent that can compete at a world stage. And just to go off the thing of Busio, I mean, it's well deserved. I mean, it's I think arguably he's been the best teenager in MLS this season, arguably, and overall probably a top 20, 25 player in the entire league. And so I think, and I'm really excited to see just what he can do an international level in a major tournament, and it just helps that he's going to be playing all 3 of his group games in Kansas City.
Yeah, before we move on, I'm trying to find a specific tweet now, but FOTMob is an app/website. Track all sorts of soccer stats. If you don't have the app, if you don't have a website, check it out. And I have not looked super deep into it, but they basically analysed all of the 60 players on the preliminary roster. This was before the announcement was made. And, they put the numbers in and came up with a rating. And Busio was the highest ranked MLS player on that list. And he's not even 21 yet. And that's all MLS players. He was the number 1. So if that doesn't say, like you said, best midfielder, best teenager, if that doesn't say something, I don't know what does. Well,
major props to Gianluca Busio. It's going to be great to see him.
I think we should also give props to Nicholas Giacchini, who KC born. KC born, lived in Overland Park, moved from KC when he was 8, but also a member of the Gold Cup roster. So congrats to him. He had a couple caps at the end of 2020, and now gets to play in his town of birth in a major tournament for the U.S.
Very cool. Very cool.
I got a press release on it.
Really?
Yeah, I did. I'm serious. I got a press release saying he was picked.
All right. So we're going with it.
Yeah, Jeff sent me it. So yeah.
So I'm old.
What?
You all know I'm old.
What?
So I've been around long enough to have been around Kansas Jayhawks fans when they won the 2008 NCAA championship dramatically over Memphis in overtime, for the Royals championship, American League championship team of 14 and the World Series title team in 15, and for the Chiefs' 2 Super Bowl appearances they won and lost. So I think I have a sense of how, I've lived among fans of these teams for more than 30 years here in Kansas City. So I know how the fans felt when their teams won. And I was part of I went to the parades in each of them and covered the parades. And it's an elation maybe that's not comparable to anything else. So a sports elation is just I hope everybody gets a chance to experience their favorite team winning the ultimate championship for their sport. I bring this up because, Shaun, I wanted to ask you, was England's 2-0 win over Germany on Monday? No, yesterday. Tuesday.
Yeah.
Was that as good a result as you have ever experienced as a fan of English soccer?
Yeah, of English soccer, maybe. Of soccer as a whole, obviously I've had Liverpool. So
let me stop you for a second. And I meant to include Sporting Kansas City's MLS Cup in 2013.
Yes, of
Continue.
course.
And the reason I didn't was because I was not I didn't cover that event. Mm-hmm. I was covering another event. But anyway, continue.
Yes. So soccer as a whole, I've had Liverpool. I've had 2 Champions Leagues in my life. Obviously the Premier League. I was in tears when we won the Champions League. But for England, it was a round of 16 game against Germany. It's not like we've just won a final. But you have to bet. Go on.
So when was the last time they beat Germany in an elimination game?
1966.
1966, yeah. It wasn't like it was a...
And the most depressing part of that is, in major tournaments, England has faced Germany more than any other... if all the teams that Germany has faced, they faced England more than any other team in major tournaments. And they beat us in every single one, apart from the 66 World Cup final. It was the 2006 World Cup where they beat us in the knockout rounds. There was the 1996 Euros. They beat us in the semi-finals on penalties. Even just whether it's qualifying games and stuff. I've been alive for a good chunk of England-Germany games, and we never win. So it was a weird feeling for sure, and it was just. I don't want to talk about the rest of the Euros just yet and how we have an easy path, I think. But to get past,
to the final.
Yes, to the final. But to get past Germany in that fashion where, yes, they had a great chance at the end and Timo Werner had a good chance which was saved by Pickford, and Kaya Verks has a nice volley. But honestly, yeah, it's, we hunkered down, and I've never been the biggest fan of that play style from England, but at the end of the day, we haven't conceded a single goal this tournament. We've just beat Germany 2-0. Who am I to start criticising the tactics when it goes to a quarter-final against Ukraine?
In Rome.
Right. Yeah.
First time they won't have played in Wembley, right?
And then if we win that, we go straight back to Wembley for the semis and the final. So yeah, the fact, if it was a powerhouse team in Ukraine, I might be a little bit more worried. And I don't mean to, talk down on Ukraine, but it's Ukraine.
Well, okay, yeah. Let's.
Sorry, Ukraine.
Yeah, for our Ukrainian listeners, that was Shaun Goodwin who's down.
Dresses.
So the manager had to tamp down on the celebration yesterday, and went to the media and said, "No, come on back. We haven't won anything." And
oh yeah, feels like we have. That's England football for you,
right? But wasn't there, at least until England scored in the 75th minute, I think, to open the scoring, weren't the nerves bubbling?
Yeah, again, it's Georg saying if two teams play a game of football and Germany wins on penalties at the end. Like that's always how it goes. I was chatting to Hugh Williams and Lucas Rodriguez, one of the assistants for NWSL. We all predicted England to lose on penalties just because, optimistically, I was like, we've got a good team and whatnot, but it's Germany. We never beat Germany. But yeah, we haven't won anything yet, and I think it's a little bit of the English arrogance of going forward against Ukraine. And then after that, if we win, it's Czech Republic, who we've literally beaten this tournament, and then Denmark, who we know Denmark's story of Christian Eriksen, but I've always said the fairy tale ends at some point. How often does a fairy tale go on to win the championship? I'm sorry, but England is better than both of those teams too. So I'm just kind of like, it might be English arrogance, but beating Germany, that was our major obstacle before we get on to the final. Whether we win that, I don't know.
I did say last week and on Twitter that it would be very England-like for them to have a historic win against Germany and then completely fall flat against Ukraine.
Don't surprise me either.
I think one of the, I don't have like super strong ties to any of these European national teams, but I think the best part about watching this is just it's been very exciting, and the fact that like the teams you are favored to win are just not winning. Group F, which had Portugal, Germany, and France, like none of them made it past the first round. Like that's just a more fun tournament to watch.
All you've got is a powerhouse. Yep. All you've got is a powerhouse England.
Yeah, that powerhouse of England.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, the two games on Monday were phenomenal.
Oh, Lord, that's the best day of football I've ever seen.
14 goals over 2 games is bonkers.
Spain, Croatia, and then Switzerland, France. And I've mentioned this to Shaun, that we have a great family friend who lives in France, who's a big fan of the French national team. And so we were exchanging texts around midnight their time. He's done with soccer. Done with it. Hates it. Will never watch another game again. This from a person who is in his lifetime. His team has won 2 World Cups.
Yeah, look at him. Spoils.
You cry in front of the trophy cabinet.
It's like my roommate after the Chiefs Super Bowl loss. He said he'd never watch football again. I was like, Buzz, you won a Super Bowl a year ago. Like, calm down.
Yeah, you're like learning the
You've got Patrick Mahomes. Come on.
You're learning the true trenches of fanship.
Right.
And I'm from
lost in the Super Bowl.
I'm a Detroit fan, so I know this very well.
Yes, you do. You absolutely do, especially when it comes to your Lions. That's for sure. Okay, as always, I really have enjoyed the talk, and as always, I always learn something talking to you guys. So I appreciate it, Cora, Briar, and Shaun, and we'll do it again next week. That'll do it for today. Thanks to our SportsBeat KC production staff of Derek Donovan, Beth Welsh, Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, Chris Fickett, and Savannah Smith. Links to stories about soccer can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. Hey, we have another deal for you. You can subscribe to Sports Pass for 99 cents a month. That's right, 99 pennies a month. Sports Pass is the online version of the Star Sports section. You get all the stories that appear in the print editions of the Star, plus additional stories that appear only on the website, and of course they appear first on kansascity.com. After 3 months, it auto-renews at $5.99 a month unless you cancel. Here's how you get it. You go to kansascity.com/SportsPass2020. That's kansascity.com/SportsPass2020. You want more than just sports coverage? Check out the entire Kansas City Star product. Sports news, features, commentary, and analysis, the whole thing. You get all the stories written by my talented colleagues, plus additional national news, sports, and business coverage with the e-edition. The details for all of these deals can be found at account.kansascity.com/subscribe. And if you're having trouble hunting down any of those offers, send me an email, bkerkhoff@kcstar.com, and I will get you to the right place. So whether it's the Sports Pass or the full subscription, you're getting and supporting the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City and helping us produce programs like SportsBeat KC. Thanks for listening. We'll be back on Friday with another episode.